Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of In Love with Me series. This is where we feature inspiring individuals who will share the amazing stories. I am Martha Yunan Velasco, and for this series, our topic is winning her heart. And of course, May is a celebration of women empowerment, most especially mompreneurs and mamas, right? All the moms and the mothers out there. This season is to cover those topics on how to win those women's hearts and maybe for themselves or the steps and actions one should make an effort for. So today I'm truly excited to introduce such a game changer. And earlier mentioned to me already, co-authored 29 books and also authored her own book and publisher, one of my books, well, my Courage and Confident book, a philosopher, and of course, an empowered woman. So, without further ado, let's welcome Karen Weaver. Hi, Karen. Welcome to In Love with
Hello,
Me.
Mafe. Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Well,
I
it's not
just
like we
smiled at
do.
those photographs. They all bring
I
back
saw,
memories.
I did see. Well, that's my little surprise for our guests here because we want to really acknowledge you and honor you and your time of inspiration and motivation for others. And of course, for the people that are meeting you for the first time here in this community and all over the world, please, Karen, give them a little bit of your background, your amazing background, who you are, and what do you do? The many hats that you
Absolutely.
do.
Awesome. Where do I start? Well, I suppose I start with my calling into authorship because the call was very loud into to writing my first novel in 2008. It was a heart novel because it was sharing an epiphany, an answer my heart longed for, as a spiritual answer as to why I had a double miscarriage. And I wanted to share that it had such a profound effect on me. I want to share that message with the world. So I wrote a blog. That wasn't enough. And so I had this totally irrational call to write a novel. And 2 days later, novel writing month was happening. And so I ended up saying to my husband, you can, I'm sorry, but I'm going to write a novel. You don't have a wife for a month. I will love our children, but that's it. And so for every one, for every day, I wrote 1,667 words a day for a month, and I had a 50,000 word novel, not knowing that that novel was going to be a catalyst into publishing. Now, Matthew, my studies are in humanities, so everything has to be done with the essence of humanity in it. So when I became an accidental publisher, and I made a sacred promise to help stories get told and shared. I'm Irish. Our culture is that if someone needs hope, if someone needs healing, if someone needs to connect, if someone needs educated, people come and share their stories. So by publishing books, we're getting into the hearts and minds of the people who need to read them. People don't feel alone. It's really a big passion of mine. So as you can see, I surround myself with beautiful, amazing people and authors, and I journey with authors to share their stories with the world. So all that stuff that you say may be glamorous and stuff online, but the essence of it is the story. Stories change the world.
I agree. And we were talking about having a soul, right? It
Yes.
it needs emotions. Of course, in this day and age, we have some challenges, and from the beginning of time, as authors, okay, the ones who started the writing with the heart and soul, I know there are some common traps for writers. How do you get over that? Or how would aspiring writers, when they have, I guess what they call it, what is it, a writer's block?
Writer's
Or
block.
my problem was I had a lot of chapters and I didn't know where to start. So
Yeah. It's always about the starting and then about the inhibitions as well. So,
mm,
I often, if you're writing a book and you got you in the book, I always liken it to like running around the streets naked because you feel like you're exposing yourself to the world. It's so uncomfortable. But as when you see how much impact your story can have on another person, never mind the ripple effect out from that,
mm,
you take you out of the equation and you show up for story and for the mission and for the impact that that can have. So if there is someone who's hearing the call to write a story, well, firstly, there's no point in ignoring it because it's going to wake you up at 3 a.m. and call until you answer it. But the secondly, you don't overthink it. Just get writing. It's amazing how, once you capture the essence that your first draft is the skeleton of anything that you write, and give yourself permission to allow that to flow freely so that the golden nuggets all channel through onto that page. And then you can go over it again afterwards and add in the muscle and just, and all of that. And that it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what editors are for. God, I would not be, I would not be a published author of 40 books if I did not have an editor on my team. Honestly, but I have lived experience. I have knowledge that I have accumulated, wisdoms that are gifted to me to share with the world. So I need help sharing that with the world with an editor, and everybody, all the great authors need editors. That's what they're for, to make things universally legible. My editor says to me, God, Karen, you're so Irish. It's not readable for everybody in the world because I am so Irish, but that's okay. And so readers have, or editors help with the flow. So I would firstly say, just get started, get clear about what it is that you want to share, because we have so many things to share with the world, and you need to get clear on what it is you're sharing in that. If you're writing a non-fiction book, I always say focus on the contents page. If you're not sure, get inspired by a contents page a book that you enjoyed reading. What does that contents page like? Get inspired by it, channel that for your book, and then start to build out that framework. And then just write to each chapter free. You don't even have to write in sequence. You can write, in whatever calls to you. And that's when you get heart in a book. And I always say there's 3 things for a chapter, which is share your knowledge, share a personal scenario connected to that lesson, and then share a takeaway so that your reader doesn't live through you. They take what they've learned from you and see it in themselves.
Wow. Powerful. Yes, you guys heard it right. 40 books that Karen has helped, supported, published, and edited, read, including
they're my own books, Matthew. I've written 40 of my own books, and there's some nonfiction, there's fictional novels, there's children's books, and then after that I've done those 29 anthologies, so it all wraps up. I've got a little library of my own, but I've helped over 400 books get published in the past 11 years, which I'm so proud of. These are books that may not have seen the light of day had I not shown up and journeyed with them. And that I'm really proud of.
I missed the 0, guys. 400 under Karen's. But we talk about words have so much power. So what was it, or what was an early experience when you learned that words have power?
Yeah. Well, I suppose my earliest experience of books and reading was my mother. My mother was an avid reader, still is. You'll always see my mother in a fictional book. She loved all the Mills and Boon stuff and the Barbara Cartlins. And of course, as kids, you wonder, why is mom reading so intently? But I always seen how she would just escape. Like, my mum is a mum of six. I'm the eldest of six. I have six children myself. But I remember watching my mother. It must have had such a profound, but her book coming in the mail, and she used to just love sitting up with her cup of tea and just reading her book. It was escapism. And I was like, wow, to gift that. I seen it from an author's perspective, to gift someone that special time just to escape into another realm, because it's not easy, raising six kids on dad worked a lot and stuff to keep everything going. This is 80s, 90s, that's the way it was then. So then whenever I wrote my story from the heart, it was definitely, it's not my first novel is definitely not a literary genius novel. It's definitely written from the heart, but it's a page turner. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen on the next page, so neither does the reader. And so, but the message in there, and I remember what really was profound for me was someone read my book and reached out to me, and is now one of my best friends. And she said that when she endured grief, my words give her the hug and the support she needed. The wisdoms in this book just nurtured her through grief. And like, is that not the best thing ever, to be there for someone through words? Because words are powerful, Maffei. Yes. And I've had lots of different messages, and that's one book impacting that person and then everyone in their life,
I totally agree with you. Wow. You mentioned six kids, your mom and you, and that's the reason why we're alive.
We can fill a room together.
We can totally write a book about having six kids. Yes, a book is definitely, especially inspiring stories that people share, is a hug. And we are, of course, you'd be proud that it's not a virtual hug. It's an actual hug that you can touch and feel, because someone has really dived in and, like you said, just opened up their life to you.
Yes.
Letting you know that we're friends too. So I appreciate that. And, I'm pretty sure people are also curious on your thoughts of literacy success. How does that look like to you?
Ooh, see, I'm just I just keep innovating and doing. I do stop to smell the roses, but for me, there's different levels. Okay, and for me, whenever I'm with one of my authors, and even when I'm with myself and saying, what is it I want to achieve? It's setting the intention and really getting clear of what the outcome is for you and what you want to achieve. Do you want to impact 1 million lives? Or do you want to have your book on big W shelves? Or, what's that one thing, that bucket list thing that you want to achieve through putting these hours into writing your book and getting it out into the world? And even if it's a chapter in a book, it's still right. And I think that's harder, because you have to put so much into 2,500 words. But and that's it. I think whenever you really connect with your intention and what your goal is, that's when things fly. So but other things happen that you would not even think of. Like, I would never have thought that my words would ignite something within someone or really help them. Whenever you're writing, you're doing it with the right intention, but you don't know the impact until you have written it and shared it with the world, and it reaches the hearts and minds of those who need to read it. It's amazing.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier, it's a gift. It's a legacy. You're sharing it generation after generation. That's why even the books that my friends have published about women empowerment and inspiration, my daughter is reading it. She continues to read, even The Courage and Confidence, and it's like, wow, Mom, I can
These books weren't around for us, Maffei. They weren't around for us. Women's voices weren't being heard when we were growing up, and that's why this is legacy stuff. Like, in 100 years' time, maybe even 50 years' time, this time is going to be researched. Not only have we been through COVID and a big upheaval, but we've had women rising and moms rising, and healing the world together. So these stories are going to be researched. So yeah, they have to be kept documented in books. And one of the things, in a digital age that we're growing up in now, or our kids are growing up in, to have an actual physical book, and I love that physical books have made a comeback over, ebooks, is that when someone is reading your book, you have their full attention. And in this digital age, that's like they're not being distracted by anything else. They can only read your book, and I
Mm,
love that. I love it so
me
much.
too. Me too.
Mm.
And speaking about leaving a legacy, let's take a quick break because I know everybody wants to learn more from you, Karen. And here is one of my co-authors and also one of my best friends, and
Yes.
her empowering the youth. Let's take a look at this.
Every child has a right to play. Every child deserves a bright future. Every child has a right to be who they are. To express themselves, to laugh, to live peacefully, to live. Every child deserves to be loved.
I am me. I am unique. I am loved.
And welcome back, guys. Karen, did you recognize that voice?
Oh, Yona. She has to do a children's book. I think my heart's just going, and you just breathe through
Yes.
that,
And it's perfect. Perfect. Our topic is leaving that
Being
legacy,
perfect.
right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
For the future leaders. And speaking of
Mhm.
even being a leader, currently you are a leader. You're a philosopher. And many
Yeah.
people have a brief understanding of what a philosopher is. So
Mhm.
in your opinion, Karen, how do you define it?
Well, I have my own unique principles in life that I live through and I share with the world. And I call them my life magic mastery principles, and they are mindfulness, knowing, intention, gratitude, love, forgiveness, and belief. And I live through those 7 life principles every day, and everything I do is channeled through them.
Mm.
And that's how I am blessed with the life that I have. So then through that, I get gifted knowledge, and I interpret things, and just sharing, and I suppose thoughts that are against the norm, against it may seem irrational to the outside world, but when you embrace them and align with the universal laws that govern us all and the laws that we want to abide by because it's in our best interest, then life just starts to flow, and it's more beautiful and it's less complicated, and like you achieve things in super fast speed. And people will look at you and go, oh my goodness, how is this even possible? But when you shift into that different way of thinking and different way of embracing life, and it's all through the essence of love. That's why the law of love is at the middle of the series, because love is at the heart of everything. And so all good things, when done through loving intention, it's super fueled, and you will reach the highest level of success through that at a super fast speed. So I just, you're going against the norm whenever you share your own philosophies with the world, and we get inspired by other people. But I think everyone should have their own philosophies. Yeah, learn from me, learn from other philosophers, but interpret it for yourself, and what that means to your life, and how you can enhance your life with this knowledge, and then interpret it yourself into what it means for you.
Yes, well said. And, speaking about going against the norm, what has
Yes.
been the biggest misconceptions about what you do?
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's not as if I'm a rule breaker all the time, but the biggest and best results that I've had in life have always been by going against the norm and the conventional way of things. Like, for example, in 2008, I waddled to Australia, 35 weeks pregnant with my third child. We had just built a brand new house in Ireland. We locked it up. We had visas to come to Australia, and we locked up the house and emigrated to Australia. We knew nobody. We had 2 nights booked on the Great Eastern Highway in a motel, and I didn't even know the health system apart from what I'd researched in Google. But you know what I did have, and with our boys and with Kieran, my husband, was this deep, profound knowing that it was exactly the right step. Now, to everybody else in the world, it was so irrational. Like, what? You have everything. You've just built a brand new house. You're about to have another baby, and da, 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 da. But I had this profound knowing that it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing at that time, and you can't shake that off. So if you go against that knowing, it takes courage and faith to go with that. But I've been rewarded because of it. When I came to Australia, that's when I started to write. I never wrote until then, because I never had that belief in myself. I always had the desire, but I wasn't good at English at school. I was really crap at English at school. I remember one of my friends saying, God, if Mr. Jones knew you were writing books now, Karen, because it wasn't where you would have foreseen me going. I wasn't a lover of English. If anything, I am slightly dyslexic, but I don't let it stop me from sharing my message. And again, I have to come back to it again. Like, I was the person who wouldn't read out in class. I was reading, my head used to go so red of embarrassment. I thought it was about to explode. I'm sure blood vessels popped. I was that embarrassed of being on stage. And now look, Mafe, because I'm on a mission to have stories get shared with the world, I will show up, and I take me out of the equation. It's nothing about me. I'm showing up for a mission to help people connect through story, to help hearts heal, to give hope to others, to educate, all of those things, even down to a children's book. That's our next generation.
Right.
What they learn at a young level is the foundations for life. So that's why it's just so vitally important that more people are showing up for story. And like, stories will always be around. They always have been, they always will be. They're just delivered in different ways.
Yes, so true. I mean, we all have a purpose, and it's finding it or sacrificing whatever you think it is supposed to be, and that time is actually blooming. Your purpose is blooming and letting you know, hold on, this is your direction. And this might be a difficult question to ask you, but from all the stories that you've read, all the books that you've published and read, what have been, maybe, I don't have any numbers to give you, because if I give you one, you might be like, Mafe, which ones have you been? Okay, which stories have really inspired you the most?
Well, I have, and like, there's so many, really and truly. But I do have a book that's a favorite of mine that was published last year. I'm going to share. Hold on.
Okay, yes, please. Look at all those books, guys, and those awards. This woman is
I'm
just
just going to, obviously, working with the Duchess of York and all the
yes,
work that she does is
yes.
amazing. But I'm going to share these two because these are two women I want to recommend to you to have on the show because
Yeah.
they are gorgeous. So, Fleur Chambers of
Mm-hmm.
10
Oh,
Pathways.
Fleur.
She has a
Yes.
new book coming out this year, but wait till you see this. There's illustrations and
Oh,
it's just
wow. Wow.
Fleur owns the Happy Habit app and it's had over 2 million downloads. Well, that was last year when I talked. I even mentioned it on my TEDx talk. I love it that much.
Mm-hmm.
So the 10 Pathway is a framework for redefining happiness. People don't prioritize joy highly enough, Maffei.
I
You
know.
know? Like, if I'm not enjoying it, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
That's it. And Lisa Benson, I'm like, I love this cover, but I'm in love with this story. Lisa just shares this story. Like, she was such a perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
but she, how she finally grew up after a life of putting up, giving up, and shutting up. And I love that. Like, there's such a strong voice in it. It was one of our bestsellers last year, and I
Wow.
love it so much. So there are two KMD books.
Yes.
I'm not going into Serenity Press and MMH Press and all of those. I'm giving myself a little bit of room.
Yes. Wow. Those are amazing. I need to grab copies of those. Congratulations, Lisa and Floor. Okay.
Yeah.
How about this? Something, maybe a book or author that, of course, you did not work with, that you've read. What were
Oh,
those books? Or
well, in the line of where my mother escapes into fiction, I also escape into fiction, but I like it to be humorous and do belly laughs. And Marion Keyes always delivers. She's an Irish author. You don't want her books to end, and they're big, thick books, but you don't
Yes.
want them to end. And she is hilarious. And what I love about Marion, she keeps it real. She's very active on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But Marion has, like, she writes the most amazing, hilarious books, but she really suffers with depression. And she's very much an advocate for mental health. And yet she shows up and writes her book or two every year.
Yes.
And she's with Penguin. I just think she's amazing and very inspiring. And I love reading her books because it's total escapism. You just lie up on the sofa with a coffee, packet of biscuits, read her books. You're just going to laugh your head off. And cry, and you'll cry too.
So there you have it, guys. Karen really proved, and that's what I always share with my kids. I said, read the book first before you read any watch any docu or movie, because you
Yes.
are more fulfilled. You feel like you're in the story. You just feel that hug. I have
Yes.
a fellow. I just want to shout out Karen Gibson. She really hugs me with her stories about being a mom, letting go of your college students. That's hard, Karen.
Yeah.
Being a mom is
Yeah.
difficult. But
Yeah, it is hard.
speaking of that, everything you're doing, you're a mom first. So how do you manage? How do you manage work-life balance?
Well, sometimes I don't.
Right? It's the truth.
I'll be honest about that, but it's okay. I give myself permission, I always come from heart. So, and like, we've had one of my children was diagnosed with diabetes just over 18 months ago. So type 1 diabetes. So it's been a big journey because we nearly lost her and things like that.
Yeah.
But just how I felt so blessed that I was able to just step back and pour into her when she needs. So that's the thing, is we as mums start our business so that we can be flexible and be there and switch. Like, I work on school holidays whenever it's, or school terms whenever it's holidays. You're not going to, I'll be around for them, but you're not going to see too much of me. I'm in holiday mode. That's when I write. It's in holiday mode. But you just make it work. So I work really hard in the terms, and then I switch off, declutter, because I think a lot of people carry a lot of things with them forward, and as you in growth cycles, they don't stop and declutter, a mental declutter, but even there may be some people around you that don't serve you anymore, and all the things just to keep progressing. And you can do everything with love, Maffei. that's the thing. So it's all about, and kids come first, 100%.
Yes. Thank you, Karen, for that reminder. I have to continue to repeat this episode, especially that last bit. And I hope everybody has learned many things with Karen. This woman really knows how to share inspiring stories, and to live a life like Karen mentioned. Work-life balance may or may not exist, but you forgive yourself,
Yes.
and that is powerful in it all. So maybe we'll manifest
Yes.
a collaboration book together as
Lovely,
fellow.
I'm up for it. You heard it here first, guys. We're up for it. And one of the things that that is my key to is prioritizing what the
Yeah.
need is at that one time. There's always going to be a to-do list. You're
Mhm.
never going to tick all of the things off,
Mhm.
but prioritize what needs your focus and energy now. Delegate what you can, stay in your genius zone as much as possible, and love your kids, because in that love, everything flows. It's beautiful. So yeah. And there's going to be times where it doesn't work, but
Yes.
it's okay. Take a
Yes,
breath.
it's okay, guys. So if anyone else would like to ask any more questions or just get to know Karen even more, please do follow her on Karen Weaver Official. And I want to take this time to just thank you so much gratitude to the people for supporting this episode, most especially Busa, Belasco Unlimited Skills Academy, of course, MMC Team, Mafia Management Consultancy, XOX, SAS, Yona, we love you. The Wellbeing
Love you.
Boost Program by Kimi Lu, Community Hub, Letting Go with Aloha, Rising Filipinas, and Send Waves. So, Karen, please do invite everyone on how they can connect with you, how they can grab a copy of all your 400 books that are available.
Well, I have a new website being built out at the minute, which I'm really excited about. But if you want to go and check out my books, they're at mmhpress.com. And you can check out amazing authors at kmdbooks.com. And the Duchess's books and all of our fairy tale retellings are at serenitypress.org. And if you want to catch up with me, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, and Karen is very active. So if you ask a question right now, she will reply to you as soon as we get off here. Thank you, Karen. I could talk to you even longer. I'm just grateful for you and you showing up for us, especially, the mompreneurs. I'm pretty sure on behalf of all the Oz moms and all the moms in the world, we're just grateful for you. And to everyone who's supporting here, thank you, everyone. Maraming salamat to all our viewers on Kumu. I hope you are deeply inspired by Karen's journey. And don't forget to support even more by following our social media accounts and turn on that notification bell. Of course, there'll be some posts and teasers of this episode. So please do share with your family and friends, because this is definitely a powerful episode right here. And once again, I'm Mafia Yunan Belasco, reminding you that you should love and be proud of your own story to tell, just like Karen, guys. And don't forget, actions speak louder than words. Thank you again, Karen. Appreciate you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bilang isang nursing student, madalas ako nag-aaral at nag-aalaga ng iba. Maria Lourdes? Kaya pagdating sa pamilya ko, kailangan ko ng maasahan, mabilis at mura. Para sa akin, SendWave ang sagot para magpadala ng pera sa Philippines! Para sa aking pamilya at zero fees pa. Maraming salamat. So no matter who you are, you can take care of your family without paying any transfer fees or waiting a long time. Download SendWave now and send money with love.
Thank you.